I have long been a fan of the work of Stanley Kubrick. That should come as no surprise. He is, after all, one of the most famous and respected filmmakers of all time, and deservedly so. Being a man of his status, he has naturally tackled a variety of topics and themes. However, one of the ones that I find most prevalent in two of his movies is escapism. The idea of escapism is effectively seen in every movie. It's why we watch movies, after all. However, A Clockwork Orange and Eyes Wide Shut are not just escapism, but rather critiques of it. A Clockwork Orange is set in a dystopia, in which power is gained exclusively through the use of violence. Wealth has no effect on power here. We see rich authors as well as homeless people assert their dominance over Alex DeLarge. However, this is barely escapism. Hell, the clip I've been showing you was in fact shown in the movie to Alex, proving that A Clockwork Orange is very much set in our universe. So where does the escapism of A Clockwork Orange come in? A Clockwork Orange is a power fantasy. It is a world where anyone can gain power through the use of violence, which for the entirety of the first act is left unpunished. A Clockwork Orange shows us how routine a bit of the old ultra-violence has become for Alex. The movie even starts off by showing us a regular day for him. First a few drinks at a milk bar, then they beat up a homeless man who was annoying to them, then they beat up a rival gang, then they break into an author's house and assault the author and his wife. Effectively, any problem that Alex faces can be abruptly dealt with through violence, something which the viewer knows they can't do. This means that rather than shock for the brutal depictions of violence shown on screen, the viewer is excited to see what Alex's gang will get up to next. A Clockwork Orange doesn't scare the viewer with its content, but rather the viewer's reaction to it. We know we can't do the things Alex does, hence the large presence of escapism. However, the film takes a fairly shocking turn by the end of the first act. In fact, it's exactly what would happen in real life. Actions have consequences, after all, and Alex is about to be given some. I know how you're feeling, but in order to truly make sense of the connection between A Clockwork Orange and this film, I will need to discuss this film first. In order to do this, I will need you to put yourself in the shoes of a husband. You are sexually frustrated with your wife and decide that you will go to the movies to kill this sexual frustration with some good old-fashioned erotica. Take a look at the poster of Eyes Wide Shut. It seems like precisely the type of erotic escapism that you were looking for. For the first few moments, yeah, it is. It even starts with the rear nudity of the main female actress. The opening scene features Dr. Bill, the main character, at a party flirting with two women. Bill is a representation of your dream, no matter how you see him. He is incredibly attractive, smart, and has a great job. He is, in many ways, the perfect male. At least, initially, he is. Everything starts off so erotically, with two women even propositioning him. He rejects them, however, as he is married. You came to the cinema to escape from the disappointment of you and your wife's relationship, yet you're getting the epitome of it. The moral questioning, the arguing, the deceit. Bill is even interrupted by a man whose sexual encounter was interrupted by an overdose. Every single sex scene in this film, up to the orgy, starts off as seemingly erotic, but is then shut down by something we so commonly associate with real life. It is escapism juxtaposed with the exact issues we were trying to escape. Up until the orgy. The orgy finally contains the nudity which the viewer was waiting for. Sure, technically the camera angles obscure some of it, but this only happened due to studio restrictions. Kubrick's original vision was a lot more graphic, so I'll simply go by this version. Bill, who has, just like the viewer, spent the entire movie trying to escape from his marital issues, finally has. Someone tries to interrupt it, but he won't let it happen this time. Instead, he is eventually confronted with the error of his ways. The leader questions him in front of a large audience, questions which he doesn't know the answer to. All Bill knows is he should never have been here in the first place. Bill leaves the orgy with the same feeling of guilt that the viewer has upon leaving the cinema. The viewer leaves knowing that he should have been trying to fix his marriage rather than escape from it. Otherwise, why is he even in the relationship? The viewer arrives home, realizing that
there is something very important that we need to do as soon as possible.
What's that?
Fuck.
Alex very much wants to be the leader of his gang. After a growing dispute within the gang revolving around who the leader should be, Alex decides to fix it. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the top need of every human is for self-actualization, to be the best that one can be. Self-actualization is based solely on power. In other words, I believe that every human in the world has at their core some sort of desire for fascist control. A desire that Alex has accomplished. He doesn't want his control taken away from him, so he simply doesn't let it happen. Until it does. The first act of the movie seems so bizarre, so surreal, that we cannot expect any element of real life to be incorporated into it. That's why the second act is, by contrast, so boring. It's just real life, and not much more. It's nothing more than the consequences of Alex's actions. Alex was arrested after his friends snitched on him, which they did because Alex beat them up. Ironically, they gave Alex the exact same treatment he gave them. After losing a bit of power, they simply reasserted. One very interesting detail is, in the midst of how boring the second act is, the only escape we get is the escape that Alex gets. At one point, he reads a book about ancient Rome, and this is the only bit of enjoyment within the otherwise incredibly dull second act that the audience receives. Alex, just like us, is living such a boring life that he feels the need to escape from it, and he gets a lot of enjoyment out of it. The second act is the only part of A Clockwork Orange which somewhat resembles real life, and it's set in a prison. Thus, I believe the prison is a metaphor for real life. We, just like Alex, spend our entire life controlled, no matter how democratic our society may claim to be. The first act of A Clockwork Orange, and the only truly enjoyable one, represents a life of ultimate freedom. Alex is free, but he isn't. A Clockwork Orange shows how freedom never worked in the first place. It is not the government that manages to arrest Alex DeLarge. He is only arrested because his friends snitched on him. It was Alex's exploitation of the freedom he was given that eventually caused his arrest. In the third act of A Clockwork Orange, Alex is tortured by demons of the past. Everyone who he treated badly previously now treats him badly. It is the epitome of vengeance. Eventually, the antics of Alex's enemies drive him to commit suicide. However, he survives. Or so it seems. In the ending, we see Alex say plenty of things that directly contradict the intended result of the Ludovico technique we saw earlier. It seems as if the cure has failed to work. Alex gets everything he wants to in the ending. The oppression of the Ludovico technique is gone, his parents tell him he can have his home back, and the government even apologizes to him and dismisses his crimes. I believe that Alex's suicide was in fact successful, and the ending represents him in heaven, hence how everything goes his way. Furthermore, this would explain the final heaven-like image. Therefore, I believe the message of A Clockwork Orange is that freedom is impossible, apart from death. Death is the only true freedom of life. Naturally, that's quite depressing, and there is also a more positive message, and it's to simply enjoy life. Never waste a minute of your life on something you don't want to. Moreover, don't throw your life away on useless things like crime and petty violence, as they will do no good for you or society. Both A Clockwork Orange and Eyes Wide Shut suggest that the most important aspect of life are your relationships. These should be prioritized over everything else, and they should always be the best that they can be. Never throw away any relationships, and always be respectful. Self-actualization is impossible, because whenever we reach a goal, we will inevitably end up setting ourselves a new one. So don't spend your life trying to reach some goal. Life has no goal. Life is just about enjoyment, and the key to enjoyment is your relationships. Escapism is, therefore, pointless. Why watch a movie? Why read a book? Why play a video game when you could be doing something in real life instead? Why should you live a life which you have to escape from in order to truly enjoy? Why are you still watching this video?